Good evening, my dear students. Good evening, my dear students. How are you? Good evening, my dear students. How are you? I hope that you are all fine and safe. My dear students, 7th class biology, previous class explained food for health, components of food. Components of food. Components of food. Test for carbohydrates. Test for carbohydrates. Test for carbohydrates. We know that carbohydrate is one of the major component of the food material. Carbohydrate is one of the major component of the food material. In the same way, another one of the component present in the food material. Another one of the component present in the food material, that is proteins. What is that? Proteins. Proteins are the major component of the food material. This is present in most of the food material. Most of the food material. One of the simple story. Shravya was lean. Shravya was lean. So that doctor suggested her to take milk, meat, egg, and pulses. Shravya was lean. So the doctor suggested to take some of the food materials like milk, meat, egg, and pulses. Can you guess why it suggested so? Can you guess why it suggested so? Because in these food materials, contain proteins. In these food materials contain proteins. Yes, they are rich in proteins. Yes, they are rich in proteins. What are the uses of proteins? What are the uses of proteins? Proteins are required for formation of muscles. Formation of muscles. Proteins are required for formation of muscles. Body building and growth. They regulate biochemical reactions. And it is also useful for repair and wound healing. And it is also helps build up immunity against the diseases. Proteins are required for formation of muscles, body building repair and wound healing, build up immunity against the diseases. Build up immunity against the diseases. Proteins are present in meat, milk, egg, fishes, and pulses. Pulses like green gram, red gram, black gram, soya beans, etc. Proteins are richly present in meat, milk, egg, fish, pulses, soya beans, etc. Our traditional food items like pesarattu, minapattu, vada, పెసరట్టు మినపట్టు వడ గారెలు పునుగులు. In these food materials also contain proteins. Our traditional food items పెసరట్టు మినపట్టు వడ పునుగులు గారెలు, in these food materials also contain proteins. In these food materials also contain proteins. So the major sources of food materials like milk, meat, egg, fish, pulses, and soya bean, etc. Are present. Most of the food materials contain proteins. Most of the food materials contain proteins. How can you say that proteins are present in the food material? How can you say that? How can you say that proteins are present in the food materials? Proteins are present in the food material. Present in the food materials. How can you say that? How can you say that proteins are present in the food material? One of the activity, a small activity, conduct a simple lab activity to confirmation test presence of proteins in some of the food material. Lab activity 2. Already previous lab activity 1, confirmation test presence of carbohydrate in some of the food material. Lab activity 2, aim to confirm the presence of proteins. To confirm the presence of proteins in egg white. This is one of the food material. To confirm the presence of proteins in egg white. In this activity, need some materials. In this activity, need some materials. What you need? 2 chemical substances. One is copper sulfate crystals. Another one is sodium hydroxide pellets. One is copper sulfate. Another one is sodium hydroxide pellets. First one is 2% of copper sulfate solution. 2% of copper sulfate solution. 2% of copper sulfate solution means dissolve 2 grams of copper sulfate. 2 grams of copper sulfate dissolved in water. Copper sulfate, dissolve 2 grams of copper sulfate in water. This is first solution. Second one is 10% of sodium hydroxide solution. Sodium hydroxide solution. Sodium hydroxide solution, 10% of sodium hydroxide solution means dissolve 10 grams of sodium hydroxide in water. Sodium hydroxide in water. You have to prepare 2% of copper sulfate solution, and you have to prepare 10% of sodium hydroxide solution. These two chemicals are required in this activity. And third one, test tubes, glass beaker, test tubes, glass beaker, dropper, egg white, food material, egg white. Test tubes, glass beaker, dropper, egg white. These are the requirements for this activity. These are the apparatus. These apparatus are required for this activity. First of all, you have to take a test tube. First of all, you have to take a test tube. First of all, you have to take a glass test tube, add some amount of, this is egg white, add some amount of egg white in a test tube, egg white in a test tube. Take copper sulfate solution. This is dropper. Add 2 drops of copper sulfate solution in a test tube. 1, 2. Next, you have to take sodium hydroxide solution. 10% of sodium hydroxide solution. Add 10 drops of sodium hydroxide solution by using dropper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shake well, and keep the test tube. Shake well and keep the test tube in a test tube stand for few minutes. Shake well, keep the test tube in a test tube stand for few seconds. After some time, after few minutes, you have to observe that. After some time, you have to observe that The food material can be changed into violet color. The food material can be changed into violet color. This color indicates that proteins are present in egg white, violet color. After few minutes, you have to observe that the food material can be changed into violet color. This color indicates that proteins are present in the food material, like egg white. So this simple activity, proteins are present in some of the food material like egg white. The egg white turns into violet color. The egg white turns into violet color. Already aim apparatus. What you need. Next. How to do? Put side all of you. How to do? Take few amount of egg white in a test tube. Add 2 drops of copper sulfate solution, and add 10 drops of sodium hydroxide solution. Shake well, and keep the test tube in a stand for few minutes. Take a few amount of egg white in a test tube, add 2 drops of copper sulfate solution, and add 10 drops of sodium hydroxide solution. Shake well and keep the test tube in a stand for few minutes. Observe for any change in the color. Observe any change in the color of the material. If the color of the material turns into violet, it contains proteins. Okay, what you see, my dear students, what you see, the egg white turns into violet color. This color indicates that proteins are present in egg white. Proteins are present in egg white. Okay, so this is one of the activity confirmation test. Proteins are present in some of the food material like the egg white. Okay, are you understood? Right. Now, 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 test the below material. Now test the below material to find out. Test the below material to find out the presence of proteins. The presence of proteins. Presence of proteins. Presence of proteins. Presence of proteins. Write down, my dear students, table 3. Table 3. Serial number, name of this food item, name of the food, present or absent proteins. Proteins. Table form. First one, serial number 1, soya bean powder. Soya bean powder. Proteins are present. Proteins are present. Next, serial number 2, name of the food item, ghee. Ghee. Proteins are absent. Proteins are absent. And serial number 3, name of the food, milk. Milk. Proteins are present. Proteins are present. Once you can observe this table, ghee, proteins are absent. Proteins are absent. What would be there in it? What would be there in it? Fats. What would be there in it? Fats. Okay, my dear students, this is one of the component of the food, major component of the food, proteins. Next class, I will explain fats. Next class, I will explain fats. Okay, my dear students, thank you, one and all.